Hey there. Thanks for tuning in today. Have you ever had someone tell you to leave the heavy lifting to the big boys? It's not meant as a kindness either. If you're a naive person, you might think, oh, how nice. Sure, go ahead and do the heavy lifting. I'll just take it easy here. In fact, you don't have to be naive. You can just be lazy like I am. If someone was telling me to leave the heavy lifting to big boys, I'd be like, sure, lift away, big boy. I didn't want to do any heavy lifting anyways. But usually it's said when someone's trying to throw you some shade, like, don't hurt yourself, man, trying to do something beyond your ability. And that's a good way to make enemies or taunt a foe, especially if the big boy is the person who's making this statement. That's too much for you. You better let me do it. Leave that heavy lifting to the big boy. Or, in other words, I'm better than you. I worked as a painter for a few years with a few really good bosses. Two guys owned their own company, and I was their only employee most of the time. One of the guys' name was Robert. It was Norbert and Robert. And Norbert was German, and he was very particular about how you paint. And I thought that was because he was German, but then I met another German painter, and I painted for him for a while. And he was the sloppiest painter I ever met. So Norbert was just neat and tidy because he's a neat and tidy person. That's how he rolled. But anyways, we're doing something, and we'd be doing something, and I'd offer to help, like, I could do that, and you could do this, and maybe it'll speed things up. And then he would always ask if I thought I was better than he was. Like, what are you saying? You're better than me? And sometimes he would make that comment just in our regular conversations. Because when you're painting walls, there's lots of time to talk about stuff, and we would talk about all kinds of stuff. And then Norbert would just kind of throw this in there offhand. And Alan thinks he's better than me. Of course I didn't. Or did I? It was all in good fun, and I really enjoyed working with them. Great bosses. But sometimes I think God would like to ask us this question. Do you think you're better than me? Of course, many people think they are because they think he doesn't even exist and he's a fairy tale. But I'm not really talking about that today. I'm talking for people who believe there is a God. Do you think you're better than him? Now, of course, everyone would say, no, of course I'm not better than God. That's the only reasonable answer. But actions speak louder than words. Or words speak louder than words. How many people are trying to figure out what's really going on in the world today? Trying to see through the veil of lies and uncover all the conspiracies and solve the world's problem. And how many so-called Christian people, or religious people anyways, people who say they trust in God, believe he's in control, and that he's better than we are trying to help God out here. Like, obviously he needs some help. Look at how the world is. It's all messed up. It's slipped out from under his control. We got to help him get it back together. The evil is winning. The devil's having his way. And I think maybe God would like to ask this question. Do you think you're better than me? In our prayers sometimes we're telling God all this stuff that's going on in the world and what he better do about it and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not trying to be critical or put people down. I'm trying to encourage us, really. There's a phrase that floats around on the internet message boards, and I think it's pretty fun. People say, you're playing checkers while I'm playing 4D chess. Yeah, Star Trek has those chess boards that are layers, and there's things up here and down there, and 3D chess, I guess it's supposed to be, and Spock's really good at it, by the way. But 4D chess adds in the fourth dimension, which I think we all agree is time. So the idea is my plans and my thoughts are so far beyond what you're playing at. You can't even comprehend my strategies and moves I'm making. I'm way far ahead. You're just trying to jump your little checker piece. I'm playing 4D chess, man. Forget it. You got a chance. I'm way out of your league. And I think that's a great way to describe our analytical abilities and our understanding and comprehension of what's going on in the world compared to God's. In fact, that's being really generous to us. To say we're playing checkers while God is playing 4D chess puts us in a favorable light. It's more like we're slobbering idiots that don't even know what the number 10 means, let alone what it has to do with our fingers and thumbs while God is playing 4D chess. It's, you might even say, the devil maybe is that far ahead of us. Like, we're all worried about all these plans and stuff. And yeah, sure, there's evil evil at work in the world today. And the devil's trying to do something, but the devil's playing checkers while God's playing 4D chess. Like it's not really anything to worry about. In fact, well, I'll get to that in a second. We can't even win at tic tac toe. God's making moves we can't comprehend. He's got it all planned out. And it's ridiculous for us to try and tell him what he needs to do or whatever, try to tell each other what's going on. I mean, we've got to be aware and, keep our eyes open and be sober minded, the word says. But we're just playing checkers at best. The big boy is playing 4D chess. Or as the Bible puts it, Psalm 131, a Psalm of David, Lord, my heart is not proud. My eyes are not haughty. I don't concern myself with matters that are too great or too awesome for me to grasp. Instead, I've calmed and quieted myself like a weaned child who no longer cries for its mother's milk. Yes, like a weaned child is my soul within me. Oh, it says Israel there, but that can imply to anybody who trusts in God. Oh, you who trust in God, put your hope in the Lord now and always. And what this says to me is, let God do the heavy lifting. You're afraid, you're troubled, you don't know what's going on in the world, not sure what you should do, you don't know what the future holds. There's another saying I like. I don't know what the future holds, but I know who holds the future. The big boy is playing 4D chess, and he's got it all figured out. And this psalm is like saying, I trust you, God. I'm not going to try and figure it all out. I'm just going to quiet my heart and put my trust in you. My soul is like a weaned child. In other words, I'm not crying out for milk all the time, like, oh, baby crying, help me, feed me, do something for me. I'm satisfied. I'm content. You've got me in your hands. You've got the whole wide world in your hands, and you're working out your plans, and it's all coming to your, it's all unfolding as you want it to. And people might be plotting this and that, and leaders might be doing this and that, and the devil's doing this and that. They're just playing checkers. And they can't even do that right. While God is playing 4D chess. He's 1,000 moves ahead, man. So far ahead that anyone watching the game knows who's going to win. No question of the outcome. So all of us who are religious experts should just let the big boy do the heavy lifting. And that brings up another side to the argument. Well, what are you saying? We just sit around, do nothing, twiddle our thumbs while the world burns? No, God has plans for you and I. And this is what our prayers should focus on. What do you want me to be doing in this world today? Like, I'm not ashamed to say this. I'm just a pawn on God's 4D chessboard. And pawn has negative connotations as we use it, but it's an honor to be a piece on God's chessboards. It's an honor to be useful to him and whatever his plans are for the world today. And so that's why my question needs to be, you're the big boy, you're doing the heavy lifting, you're playing 4D chess, I can't comprehend it. What do you want me to do? What's the move you're making? And I want to say this too, that for everybody that's, thinks, whatever, Bill Gates going to do that, or I don't know, like I hardly pay attention to it, but, these things are going on, the devil's doing that and whatever, and we need to, they're just pieces on his chessboard too. Like a talk I gave a few weeks ago was talking about providence and how God uses everything. He uses everything to work out his plan for his creation. And so the devil's just a pawn on God's chessboard. And all the world leaders today are just pawns on God's chessboard. The big boy is doing the heavy lifting and he's playing 4D chess. And we're just playing around at checkers. We got no clue. So the question I want to ask is, what's your move? What's my next thing to do? What do you want me to do, God? And you might find God saying, just make your corner of the world a brighter place and leave the heavy lifting to me. Like, you and I can't solve the world, but maybe we could help someone get some groceries, or maybe we could give someone a word of hope. Like, hopefully, maybe I'm doing that today, giving someone some hope. Maybe we could just be kind to strangers and put a smile on their face. And I hope I encourage you today. Don't concern yourself with matters that are too much for you and me. Not sure about grammar there. You and me, I think is how you're supposed to say. And that's not a put down. And that's not, let the big boy do heavy lifting. That's not, I'm trying to encourage us that there is a big boy who can do the heavy lifting and knows what's going on. And so we can just quiet our souls and leave the big stuff to him and just let him tell us what he wants us to do. Ask him what his plans are. Be content in doing that to the best of your ability. Maybe you're listening to this and you say, I don't really believe in God. But I want to tell you something. God believes in you. Oh man, that's such a cliche. Well, maybe. But maybe you need to hear it. God has plans for you. There's hope for you in this world today. Why don't you ask him what he wants you to do? What's your plan? Just say something like, God, I'd like to stop worrying about life. I'd like to believe that there is a plan going on here, that I have a purpose in it, that there's a reason for me to be alive. I'd like to believe that someone is in control of this mess and that someone can help me. And if you're really out there, can you help me know why I'm alive? Go ahead and ask him. And then listen to what he has to say. You say, well, how can I hear what God has to say? Well, there's lots of ways. He'll speak to your heart. Like somebody who doesn't believe in God might say, I feel like the universe is trying to tell me something. Yeah, God is. God is trying to tell you something. So you just feel like, you just get this feeling, that's God. But you shouldn't just go on that because feelings can be fooled. Read the Bible. God will speak to you through the Bible. God will speak to you when you talk to other people who believe the Bible and know what it says. You can talk to them, ask them questions. And God will speak to you through circumstances, things that are going on in your life. Those are all ways God is trying to talk to you. And I tell you, God is trying to talk to you right now. You say, well, how do you know that? Well, because you're listening to this. This is a talk that God prompted me to say, and you're listening to it. So God's talking to you right now. And he's saying to you, let the big boy do the heavy lifting. You can trust him. You can rest in him. You can have peace. You can be content. Because God's on your side and he's working in your life. And so I hope you find some peace and contentment and hope today. May God give you grace and peace. God bless you.